Welcome back to the semi-final of this week's Go4LoL. My name is Benvarmeren, as you can see on the screen, and I am still joined by Joshua Dowsy Dows, and we are going to be casting the Valkyrie Esports on the blue side and GLB Red on the red side.
Yeah, GLB Red on the red side, quite appropriate for this game, and we just saw Valkyrie Esports completely tear apart LT in the previous game, and you have to be wondering how GLB plan on dealing with this. They've already thrown an Orianna ban over at Fluffy, trying to get him off that champion, so some good respect going over against Fluffy. Alistair banned out, as well as Kindred as well. Valkyrie not liking that Kindred pick, banning it for the second time in a row.
Yeah, Kindred is obviously a very strong jungler, but there is a way to counter, and that is by invading, because a lot of people play Kindred with Devour, and we saw how you can shut down a Kindred in the last night's NALCS, where Rush was never able to be a part of any game because he got invaded time and time again. And Orianna being banned out for Fluffy, we did see Fluffy play a really good Orianna last game, so this comes with no surprise.
Yeah, and Aggregus as well banned out against Bully, so a little bit of respect picks. Sometimes when you don't know the team you're playing against, it's always good to ban out the champions they played in their previous game, especially if they played them over a lot of the games of the tournament. I know Fluffy has been spamming that Orianna throughout their games, but it's going to be the Brum picked up once more for Madcraft. Really enjoyed watching him on that champion, had good mastery of it, knew how to peel and protect, and it makes sense they would take it. It's quite a contested pick.
Yeah, played a really good Brom last game. He had some clutch concussive blows as well, so no surprise that you go for him. And now it's all about what GLB wants to pick up, because there are a lot of picks you can go for. A Series open, Corky's open, Gangplank if you want to go for something like that, so there's a lot of picks open that you can go for.
Yeah, absolutely. Have to see what GLB Red decide to prioritize. It's going to be the Lucian and the Trundle locked in, and Lucian's one of those champions that you have to consider. He's one of the most potent AD carries at the moment, able to do a lot of damage throughout the early mid game, and doesn't fall off too hard in the late game either if it does end up there. But as we know, patch 6.6 is all about that early game, all about that mid game, and trying to close it off before things get too hectic. Going to be a Rek'Sai and a Nautilus now locked in for Valkyrie. Ignorus played a fantastic Nautilus in the previous game, and so we'll be seeing him again on that. Bully now adapting with the Gregus band, going to be on that Rek'Sai.
And I'm a bit surprised you pick up the Nautilus now that we are seeing a Trundle on the side of GLB, because Trundle with a Subjugate will 100% counter someone like Nautilus, Rek'Sai or Brom, because all of those are tanky, and Subjugate will steal away their magic resistance and armor. So Trundle as a flex pick can easily go to the top lane now, but now that he knows he is against someone like Nautilus, Trundle will not have too hard a time. Obviously Nautilus, like we saw in the last game, will be very strong in the laning phase, because Riptide is such a strong ability, but Trundle can hold his own, and I'm a bit surprised we see that. But still, if they play like the last game and just get their carries ahead, then the win conditions are very much open.
Yeah, it's one of those things that whilst Trundle does have the ability to steal away stats, steal away tankiness, he does fall off into the late game, because, as you mentioned, there will be other tanks on the team of Valkyrie in that Brom and that Rek'Sai to try and make up the difference. If Trundle steals away one of them, then the other two can jump in and become that front line. So it will be effective early on, but maybe not so much later into the game. It is the Lulu and the Graves locked in now for GLB Red. Most likely a Lulu in the mid lane, as that Trundle has been locked in, but could be flexed around like the Trundle as well. We'll have to see what they end up locking in. It will be a Maokai, which says to me that it's probably the Maokai in the top lane, Trundle in the jungle, Lulu, Lulu, Graves in the jungle, and Trundle in support. Yeah, that'll be it. The Lulu in the mid lane. We haven't talked about it, but it's an Azir and a Ezreal locked in for Valkyrie, so a little bit of an adaptation there in those champions.
So like in the last game, there is a very slow scaling composition coming out from Valkyrie Esports. They again have this mid laner that wants to farm up to a certain amount of items, which is going to be Nash's Tooth in this game. And then Ezreal is obviously going to be scaling as well because he wants to go for tier. So once he hits his mana moon, that's the really point where we're also going to be seeing him come into play. But they showed a really good example of how to play around the early game when there is a carry jungler on the side of your opponents in the last game. So I'm expecting Valkyrie Esports to do something like they did in the last game, because they basically have the same composition like in the last game. They don't have Lucian this time, but it's basically the same win condition of getting your carries ahead, make sure that they will be able to deal the necessary damage in any team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like the way GLB Red has thrown that Trundle in the support role, because it means they've got a nice scaling tank in the top lane. The Maokai will, scale alongside the Nautilus and also be that frontline initiation force that Nautilus is. But it now means that Ox on that Trundle can do a similar thing. Trundle's not going to get too much gold in the support role, but the Subjugate will steal away any of the stacks from the Nautilus or the Rek'Sai or the Braum, and hand them over to the Trundle, which means that Ox is actually this really crucial pick and force on the side of GLB, because he's going to be able to tank a lot for basically having no gold distributed to him. And when you take someone who gets no gold and steal away the stats from someone who gets a lot of gold, a solo laner like Ignorus on that Nautilus, you're really stealing away a lot of the resources that Ignorus has built up. And it's a really interesting way, I guess, that Trundle interacts with the game, is that by stealing away those stats with the Subjugate, you basically turn that Nautilus into a support Nautilus, not a top lane Nautilus, because they're not going to have the stats that they once did.
That is definitely right, and as you said, it is a very well-rounded composition for GLB, and I really like the Maokai pickup. I think it allows them to make some aggressive plays in the early game because of the twisted advance that will come out from Viril. So they definitely have that tank that you talked about. The only thing I can really see as a problem for GLB is that they don't have a lot of wave clear. Once they reach the mid game, Lulu will start to fall off and their wave clear will go down very hard. But still, it's not about unsieging the sieges that will come out of Valkyrie Esports. It's more about team fighting, keeping that front line of Maokai alive, and then making sure that their double AD carry composition will be able to deal the necessary damage. And this means that they need to make plays in the early and mid game. They need to shut down the carries. Something that LT didn't do in the last game. They didn't shut down the carries of Valkyrie Esports, and this time GLB, they need to try and do that because it just span out of control in the last game.
Yeah, you have to see how GLB play this one. They've got the Maokai, quite a new addition to the top lane meta, I guess. Kind of fell out of favor with a lot of tanks coming in, like the Poppy, like the Trundle, I guess, to steal away stats, and then some of the new favorites like Echo kind of fell out of favor due to the fact that Maokai wasn't able to scale as hard due to the lack of magic resist scaling per level. But in patch 6.6, they added it back to him, and gave it to him. They didn't add it back, and now Maokai is in his own right a nice scaling champion. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play it. I do have to give it over to Valkyrie as far as late game scaling. They've done it again with their pick, and even more so now they've got an Ezreal who's going to scale into late game. But with the picks of a Lucian and a Graves, and I guess the early to mid game power that Trundle was able to dish out, it could be GLB Red pulling ahead early on, and I think they're going to have to try to at least.
Yeah, you're right about Maokai being buffed. It will also certainly help against Nautilus and Azir and Ezreal, all these that deal magic damage. Ezreal obviously is the AD carry, but he deals a lot of magic damage, just like Corki. And with those buffs, it will allow him to stay a little bit safer against the carries on the side of Valkyrie Esports. And something I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing from Aviril is a Righteous Glory, because I haven't seen a lot of Maokai's build the Righteous Glory. We don't even see it in LCS, but that's because they have a Sivir, and in this composition they do not have a Sivir, so you won't have that extra movement speed. You don't even have a Karma. The only movement speed buff you have is on the side of Christopher, I think it's Lulu's name is, on the side of Christopher. So you something like a Righteous Glory would help with the picking of people, like picking them out of position. That I hope we're going to be seeing it at least.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this game goes out. Both these teams definitely capable of pulling a victory. GLB Red, quite a new team, only recently formed, and have to see how they play together. Got some decent players on their team. And maybe looking to fill in the places that GLB Blue have left. GLB quite a nice organisation, always present in these tournaments, and hopefully their new red team will be able to make the organisation proud. But it is the semi-finals between Valkyrie Esports and GLB Red. Both these teams playing for their spot in the finals for the €100 prize, as well as 5,000 RP and some other goodies like Tournament Rise, as well as 100 Go4 tournament points as well. So a bit on the line, and have to see how these teams pan out as this game gets underway.
Yeah, and for the top lane, we talked about in the pick and ban phase how Maokai were supposed to be that frontliner, and really, Maokai will also just be in such a good spot in the laning. In the laning phase, because of his sap magic, it means that he's going to have more sustain than Ignorus. The sap magic is just so strong, and especially against someone like Nautilus who wants to use the Riptide to push all the time. The sap magic that will give that extra sustain is just going to be a very strong ability for Aviril. Oh, here comes Bully.
Yeah, Bully into the bot lane. Splashing away from that one, able to do his jungle a little bit quicker than Sankus, and was very confident in his ability to gank there. He actually invaded onto Sankus, spotted him by the blue buff, and realized that this wasn't something that was too risky. Now it's a bit of a fight in the top lane. Ignorus versus Aviril, and chucking out quite a bit of damage between them. Potions all consumed by Ignorus. Still got a health pod on the side of this Maokai. The Doran's Ring does a lot of damage, gives you a bit of health as well, and it's really nice to see that on a Maokai early on.
It's always the best starting item for a Maokai. Just as you said, it gives damage, it gives health, it even gives mana. So that means that you can spam your abilities, get sap magic, which will in return give you more sustain. So at this point, Aviril will just have way more sustain than Ignorus, and Ignorus can be bullied out of lane if this continues.
Yeah, the magical sap passive does give a decent amount of sustain in the lane. Means that you don't necessarily need the corrupting potion as much, especially when you do have the start. Here's a little bit of an engage, twisted advance, and the knockback as well. Sankus flashes forward. He actually flashes in and gets the kill with the end of the line. Really nice play there. Burns the summoner and gets the kill. I didn't actually expect that much burst damage, but that's Graves for you. 1-0 for GLB Red.
That is definitely Graves, and Graves now has a Skirmisher Saber, so true damage will come out of his attacks, and that just means that they are looking for these early game aggressions with that sustained true damage from the auto attacks. I like how they are playing around that Graves with the Skirmisher Saber instead of just going for a Tragus Knife, playing a little bit more safe. it's very refreshing and it's nice to see. And also now that Ariel were able to get an assist, that meant that he could go back and get a Bomby's Cinder. So pressure in the top lane, it's going to be pushing all the time now.
Yeah, and Sankers may even try and find his way back in the top lane. Was pinged out by the side of Valkyrie. Going to put a bit of poke damage on now. Christopher has to be careful. Flash, knock up from Bully, and Fluffy going in. Christopher has to pop the wild growth. Here comes Sankers on the backline, and teleport as well coming behind. Flashes away from it. Misses the flash over the wall by Edward. They're going to go into Bully, try and get him, but he uses his tunnel to escape that one. Someone is burnt by everyone. Teleport as well. And they weren't able to get anything for it.
But there's still a teleport advantage over on the side of GLB. I love, personally, to see double teleports come out, because I think it's such a strong strategy, and a lot of teams don't respect the teleport. They either don't write down the timers or forget about it. So I feel like it's just so strong, because people will always not remember one of the teleports.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. You know, it kind of fell out of meta with the changes to teleport, that you no longer get the reduced cooldown to turrets, 60 seconds I believe it was. So kind of fell out of meta, but some of the top mid laners like a Lulu, not really looking for too much kill pressure in lane, just looking to farm up and become that supportive mid laner that you do get. Christopher does like to play a bit aggressive in this lane, try and force Fluffy on turret, make knife a bit hard, using those glitter lances to poke him out as well. Really nice play. And now Orcs roaming up, maybe trying to get a bit of a dive going on. Madcraft has roamed up as well to support his mid laner, and now we've got a bit of a 1v1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, we do have a 1v1, and really it's all about getting the farm for everybody on the side of Valkyrie Esports right now. They just need to stop the casualties of that first blood and try to stop Sankers from snowballing this game even more. He is on the way of getting a Warrior's enchantment, which will obviously help him with the snowballing, but it's not going to be there before he goes back. And even then, Sankers, he doesn't have a lot of CC in the mid lane, so he's forced to go to either the top lane or to the bottom lane, where there is a little bit more CC. But then again, Fluffy is getting very much bowled around by Christopher.
Yeah, against an Azir, you kind of have to play a game of outranging the range that Azir has, and they're doing so with the Lulu, using the picks as well in coordination with Glitterlance to give him the poke damage and try and push Fluffy out of lane. Fluffy building towards that Nash's Tooth, and assumably a Abyssal Scepter afterwards. That's when Fluffy's going to start to come into his own with this Azir pick. It is very much so a early composition versus a early to mid composition versus a mid to late composition. And so Valkyrie are just looking to scale up now. You know, in the bot lane, got a Poros, he's got himself the Tear of the Goddess, got himself the Glacial Shroud as well, going to get a Sheen and the Frozen Gauntlet as well eventually. And that's when Ezreal's going to start to maybe be able to fight in this lane. Up until then, it's a little bit hard, but Valkyrie, they're trying to play the long game. It does mean that at the moment GLB Red, they're up by 1,000 gold, and they're trying to push leads where they can.
Yeah, and really for Valkyrie Esports, Ox.
Yeah, Ox is a little bit caught out. I don't think they really have the damage to follow this one up. Subjugate was available for the Trundle as well to steal away some health. They're just trying to get the warding advantage, maybe so they can start contesting this dragon. In the top lane though, Erevil's really putting the pressure onto Ignorus here. A 30 CS lead has opened up for himself, as well as the assist advantage that he had over the one kill of this game, and it's making life hard for Ignorus.
Yeah, for Ignorus, he's really the only one that are behind. Oh, Sankas might be caught out of position.
Yeah, Bully's just doing this over and over again. This time though, Christopher's the one to react quicker. Was in position as far as the lane was concerned to roam down and help out Sankas with his invade. But Bully's just kind of sitting on this red camp with his wards and the passive. The passive to view people whilst burrowed. He's just trying to catch people out who decide to venture into the wrong side of the jungle.
Yeah, and it is always good to try and set an example. He doesn't get any kills though, so it is a little bit of a time wasted where he could get some resources elsewhere, but still, you might end up tilting your opponent. I'm not quite sure, but for Valkyrie Esports, they are in a good spot right now, because the only one that are really far behind relatively is Ignorus in the top lane, and that doesn't concern Valkyries, or well, it doesn't. They're not too sad about it, because they just want to have their carries in a good position, which they are, because they are a little bit behind, but not anything particularly. They can still be scaling. And once Fluffy gets his Nash's Tooth, he's not going to be shoved in anymore, because he's going to be the one shoving, and then they can start to divide the pressure that will come into the mid lane out onto side lanes.
It's a nice little play by Sankas, putting the pressure onto Ignorus. Already far behind on farm, and the turret being pushed in constantly by Erevel, who's completed their Sunfire Cape. So just continuously pushing this Nautilus further and further behind with his presence means that Erevel's getting the damage down onto these turrets and causing Ignorus to have to back away. Now he's going to come in for a bit of a gank, try and do some damage. End of the line, hits the wall and back. And Ignorus is slowed down. I don't think they're really going to be able to get onto him. A dredge line to the turret keeps Ignorus nice and safe, but this does mean that Sankas and Erevel can now try and push down this turret. It's a chance for Valkyrie to try and get the dragon, but it's not looking good. Madcraft was trying to put down some vision around. He's gonna have to jump over to Fluffy to get away from this one. Now Bully called out a little bit. The Ghost Wolf Spirit spots Sankas leaving the jungle, and so he knows that he's slightly safe. But at the moment, GLB Red are putting some nice pressure onto everyone and just trying to choke Valkyrie out of this game before it really starts.
Exactly. This is what LT didn't do in the last game. They are, as you said, choking Valkyrie Esports out of this game. They recognize that Valkyrie Esports, they want to be scaling to the late game, and they're not allowing them to do so because they are making... well, they're not exactly making a lot of plays in the early game. We only have seen one kill come out, but they're trying to place deep wards. They're bullying Ignorus around. They're trying so much to take away all of the resources in the jungle as well. So they're actually doing something proactively to trying to shut down Valkyrie Esports.
Yeah, you have to be proactive when you have a team composition like the one that GLB Red has drafted. Try and group up, use your mid-game tower spikes to push your lead ahead. Sankas in a pretty decent spot right now on this Graves, able to apply pressure wherever necessary, but look at the warding that Madcraft and the team have been able to put around this dragon area. It's quite substantial. They've got themselves the Rift Scuttler as well for extra vision, but it means that GLB Red are very comfortable knowing what Valkyrie Esports are very comfortable knowing what GLB Red have planned for this dragon area. Now it looks like GLB are going to try and get some vision down of themselves, but shows the extent that Valkyrie going to try and stay safe in this bot side area.
But you cannot start off the dragon as long as Valkyrie Esports have that Rift Scuttler, and now the Rift Scuttler is gone, so dragon could be started up for GLB, but Ignorus is taking a lot of damage. Yeah,
Ignorus is taking a lot of damage. Death Charge onto him to try and tell Erevel not to kill him anymore. Now Sankas has to be careful. concussive blows onto him, but actually Magpie falls. Sandcast does so much damage, and now Bully up against the wall. Not where you want to be. Got a Porous as well. Called out by Lemonade. He's going to flash over the wall, and Culling and Knockup will cancel that one, but Lemonade doing so much damage. Ignorus has TP'd down, but he's so low. Sandcast looking for the kill. Double kill goes over to Godaporo. Fluffy called out by Ox, who's trying to do his best to this mid laner, pinging him out, knocking him up. Sankus now coming over, got the damage to try and finish this one off, but they won't end up diving in. Makes sense, but a 3 kill to nothing. 3 kills go over to them, and GLB Red just pursuing their lead.
This is exactly what shouldn't happen for Valkyrie Esports. They should not be looking for any team fights. Oh,
Godaporos! That was a misplay and a half. And now Erevel, you got the kill, but are you caught out? No, he's got the backup from Christopher and Lemonade. They're actually going to go on to Bully. Sankas comes around and Ox locks him up. He's trapped in between a wall and a ice cone. And that is going to be the kill for GLB Red. 6-0. They get themselves another 2. Going to start this dragon up. And with 7 gold in the lead, they're looking strong.
Exactly. This is, as I was saying, was not what Valkyrie Esports wanted. They should not have been fighting at all. Now they're behind around 7,000 gold, down a dragon, down 2 towers as well, and they were doing fine because they were getting the necessary resources. They were farming. They were in a good spot, but now they just threw it all overboard. Gave up 2 kills to Sankus and 2 kills to Lemonade, and this could have not turned out worse for Valkyrie Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not what you want when you've got a scaling composition, is to give up such a lead to the team that's going to be scaling out of I guess the late game. They're not going to have the strongest, but now that GLB Red has this advantage, they're able to put pressure down wherever they want, locking up Bully in his jungle, but he's got that tunnel system linked up, so easy enough to escape. Now GLB looking to roam to the top lane, try and secure themselves another turret. Rift Herald is available for them as well. If they do decide to go for that objective, it allows them to push turrets a little bit more, and it looks like it will be started up by Sankus and Christopher. Ereful just trying to do what he can to Ignorus and try and push him out of this lane as Ux roams up, catches Bully out in his jungle. Ux able to actually go head to toe with this Rek'Sai, but not if Fluffy in the game comes to help out either. Now Erevel going to be locked up a little bit. The Winter's Bite comes out. The concussive blows are stacked. The rest of GLB are on the back line. This is bad for Valkyrie as they're going to take tons of damage. Erevel takes out Fluffy, and he also gets Madcraft as well. Double kill to this Maokai. And now they're going to try and catch out Poro's health is being stolen away. He arcane shifts over the wall, but Sankos says, I see you there. Christopher picks up the kill. Christopher goes low though. Heal not enough to keep them alive. Sankos on the wrong spot. Ox flashing over the wall to keep his jungler alive. That is dedication, ladies and gentlemen. 9-1, 3 kills to 1 as well. And Valkyrie Esports are trying their best to keep this turret alive, but Erevel says, I'm going to dive here. I'm going to get the kill. And he does. Lemon Knight secures that one for their team. And now he's going on to Bully as well. Should be able to pick that up by himself on a rampage. 11-1. And this outer inner turret in the top lane is now the focus for GLB, as they're not just choking Valkyrie out of the game at this moment. They're completely I don't know what's worse than choking here. They're just. They've got a gun to the head and they're shooting multiple times. That's a bit graphic.
they're definitely putting a gun to their head, and now a 10k goal lead has developed more or less. And really, for Valkyrie Esports, I'm not quite sure there's anything they can do to come back in this. They have to play around Fluffy and God of Powers, make sure that they are in a safe spot to try and wave clear. But even then, Amaril is just so far ahead. Christopher, with his wild growth, will keep Orcs and Amaril alive whenever they want to dive towers. So, for GLB, they can start to Baron dance, even though we're only 20 minutes into the game. They're that far ahead. Lemonade is also very, very strong right now. So just start the Baron up. That could potentially be the nail in the coffin if you could get that Baron.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a risky, unnecessary thing to do, but they're able to. They can go for it. I actually, I'm really interested by Christopher's build here. He's got the Frost Queen's claim for that that extra ability power plus the mana regen, the cooldown reduction, and I guess the gold stacking as well. It's built it straight into a Lich Bane. Usually you see a Lulu build Rod of Ages or something for that late game scaling, but GLB, they know they're far ahead and they want to just try and push out as hard as they can. And Lich Bane is going to do a lot of extra damage, so that's what they're going for. Now Erebel taking this turret in the bot lane. It's not much God of Porous can do. He's trying his best, but without the help of Bully here, they're not really going to be able to keep them off the turret. It's looking grim for Valkyrie. Of course, they do have the scaling, but if Senkus keeps doing what he's doing and catching people out across the map, and he may be able to continue on this fight. Now Ignorus doing all he can to get away, but they're blocking everything, standing in front of him so he can't dredge line away. Senkus picks up his 3rd kill of the game, and they're pinging Baron. They want to start this one up.
Yeah, just take the Baron. There's nothing that Valkyrie Esports can do to stop you at this point. Ariel even has a teleport, so if necessary, he can come in and help them. Yeah, they're going to be seeing you because you moved around, but I think they should just start out the Baron. Yes, it's very risky, but you are that far ahead that if you can catch someone out of position when they move into the Baron pit, then you can kill them very fast, like Bully here.
That's what they're doing. They're straight onto Bully. One more auto attack will do it. Lemon Knight picks up the kill. He's on a rampage, 4-0-2. Gonna go into Madcraft now, try and take him out as well. Looks like GLB are gonna turn back towards the Baron. With the jungler down, it makes things a little less risky. However, if Valkyrie are able to get a good team fight on to GLB, this could actually be a bit of a game-throwing moment. Have to see how GLB do it. They're taking it down relatively quickly. Only 5,000 health. Actually looks like Valkyrie are going to give this one up. Maybe a true shot barrage. It's not up, so they can't actually do that. GLB will secure themselves a Baron very early into this game, less than 23 minutes in. And that is that.
Yeah, they get the Baron. This is most likely going to be the nail in the coffin. I feel like they have over 10,000 gold in the lead for GLB, and now with the Baron of minions, that Lich Bane you talked about is going to come in very handy, because now towers will go down very fast if Christopher is allowed to just stand and auto attack it for a little bit.
Yeah, and the extra damage as well from a double AD comp. Obviously, Graves not the quickest of turrets takers because of the reload passive. But when you got a Lich Bane and you got a 280 carries, you're going to take it relatively quickly. Now, with Dragon spawned, it looks like GLB are going to head over on try and take that one for themselves as well. And Valkyrie, they know they can't contest, and so they're not going to. Valkyrie have to play this fun little game called Scale up to the late game, and it's making it hard for them at the moment. Bully now caught up in the jungle. He's actually going to use the tunnel. Oh wow, that was really weird. He knocked Senkus up. Senkus knocked him up with the Wild Growth, pushing him out of the tunnel, and that's Bully falling. Nice play by Christopher actually to secure that one. Now Erebel goes straight forward and Ux as well, stealing away health. Empress Divide knocks them all back. Depth Charge as well. They're taking a huge amount of damage from these Sand Soldiers as well as the True Shot Barrage, but it's not enough to force them off this turret. The 5th of their game, and now with only one inner turret remaining, GLB tried to push on into this inhibitor turret, but they don't really have the health bars to do so. And Fluffy, if he's able to set up some Soul Soldiers around it, it does make things really hard. And so GLB respectfully, they back off, but they're 15 gold in the lead here now, and they're looking scary.
They're definitely looking scary, and it's not even Senkus that is looking that scary, even though he had a really good early game. At the moment, Lemonade is the one you have to be really, really afraid of. Because Admiral, yes, he is a good tank right now. He's so far ahead and he's really tanky. He will just stand in the front line and Lemonade will be dealing all of that damage, because Lucian, he is an AD carry that scales through all of the game and will also potentially be that late game AD carry. So at this point, he's just going straight into that. He even has a last whisper, so he won't have any trouble with killing Ignorus. Oh, Ox.
Caught out a little bit here. The concussive blows will lock him up, but he does not really care. He's got that what is it called? The Locket of the Iron Solari to tank up a bit of damage. He is actually really low, but Subjugate is available for this Trundle to steal away some health. He's going to use it now, and wow, look at him, suddenly tanky and big. The teamfight has started. Bully is the target, and he's going to get locked up. Sankas picks up the kill. Now the final outer inner turret's gone, and GLB are trying to threaten the base. Culling to the face. Fluffy says, "I'll take that. Thank you very much." Sankas over the wall of the base as well as Christopher. They're going for the kills here. They want the ace. They're not quite able to get it though. The team of Valkyrie managed to get into the base and behind those Nexus turrets, but GLB have cracked it. They're onto the inhibitor. They're going to take it as well. Ignorus gets locked up with a twisted advance. GLB going to just walk away from this one, try and escape. They may have to give up Erevel. They're actually going to turn on to Valkyrie here. Ignorus going pretty low, but so is Erevel, and he gets shut down. But so does Ignorus. It's a 2-for-1 at the moment as they manage to take out Christopher as well. True Shot Barrage, not quite able to secure any kills, but the Rek'Sai coming through, not actually into the fight. There's no tunnel set up in the red side jungle. And GLB maybe a little bit greedy here to take away the red buff, but now Lemon Knight's in trouble. He flashes over the wall, and he's going to get away as well. There's the Locket of the Iron Solari to give him a bit of stats and resistances. Valkyrie really want to find a kill here. They're 13 kills behind, and a whopping almost 20,000 gold behind as well. It's 17,000 at the moment. And GLB, with cracking that base, all they need to do is just regroup and head down on the lane. Both lanes are pushing towards the turrets. Valkyrie looking to try and scale into this late game, but I'm not sure there's going to be a late game.
There's not going to be a late game at all. I love to see how GLB, they recognize their win condition of shutting down this late game scaling team composition, because this team composition that Valkyrie Esports built together had nothing that they could do in the early game. Like we saw, they just got, as you said, choked. They had a gun held up to their head, and they couldn't remove it because basically they weren't strong enough to remove that gun.
Yeah, and it means that GLB now, basically it's their game to lose at this point. They're 30 minutes almost into this game, and they've really chunked down the time. Chunked out the chances of Valkyrie scaling up into the late game. It's making things extremely hard. Like Valkyrie ultimately can do it at one point, but it's going to be really hard for them as they're trying to hold them off this top lane inhibitor turret. Meanwhile, Avril in the bot lane is pushing in, causing Ignorus to come over. Teleport is available for Avril, so they can come over. So can Ignorus as well. But here comes the siege from GLB, trying to put some damage onto this inhibitor turret. They've only already managed to put down half its health in one wave push, quite a lot. Now Avril backing, going to stand on top of base, try and pick up a TP flank. Better watch out for that one, as the second wave is going to start crashing into the turret for GLB. Going to try once more to put some damage on. Here comes the TP from Aravil. He's in the base of all places. Empress Divide will keep the rest of GLB really far back, but everyone is under the turret. He's taking everything up. They're destroying the turret as well. Now here comes Ignorus onto the backline, but he gets completely destroyed.
Oh, he's so big
as well. Aravil manages to pick up that kill. They're going on to Bully with a culling. Not quite able to get it, but Aravil gets the double kill onto Madcraft, and they push everyone down into the base. Zuckus does end up falling in the end, tanks the turret a bit too much. Bully almost down. One more auto attack will do it. He's going to try his hardest. Chomp goes the Trundle, and they get that one, but Christopher falls to God of Poro. Now God of Poro going to try and make things happen, but Lemon Knight says, no, you won't. And they get the ace onto Valkyrie. The minion wave is crashing into the turret now, and this should just spell GG for GLB as they will take out Valkyrie 30 minutes into this game. A whopping 20,000 gold lead for themselves, and with that Nexus taken down, it will be GLB heading into the finals of this Go4LoL tournament.
Yeah, well played by GLB. It was so nice to see them play this game because they knew that they had to shut down this late game scaling team composition, and already from the pick and ban phase they built a team that were able to do so with all of this early game aggression that they could come out with. Very well played.
Yeah, that was really well played by GLB. They knew their team's win conditions and they executed them well. Wasn't afraid to go balls deep on these engagers, and they're going to be very happy. They're progressing into the finals of this tournament. Will be up against the side of I do believe it will be. The game hasn't finished yet, so we're still waiting on. Waiting on who will be they facing. It's either going to be Phantasm, Kataliski, or Under Control. But we'll find out soon as that game is played out. But GLB, they played so well. They choked out Valkyrie Esports, and they're a force to reckon with.
They definitely are, and I am looking forward to seeing them play in the grand final of this week's Go4LoL. But for now, we will jump into a small break. When we return, we will have the grand final between GLB Red and whoever they are going to be facing. So you certainly don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.